Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dynasty After Dark. I'm your host, Calvin Timms. You can find me over on Twitter at TDC_Calvin. My co-host Dale over on Twitter at Dynasty_Dale. And today we're going to be going through a mock draft for you. And this one's a fun one. It's 10 team, one quarterback. So it's a little bit different from the last one, Superflex. I love Superflex. This is going to be drafting for one of my leagues. We're going to be kind of picking for each of the teams. Dale is going to be picking for the odds in the first round. I'm going to be picking for the evens, and we'll get to mix and match a little bit here. And it'll be interesting for sure because there's a few players that I'm going to have all of Rob's picks, which will be fun. But
Absolutely.
it's more helpful in my opinion to do it this way because mock draft needs to teach you something, in my opinion. And when you're just doing a mock draft with no teams, right? You're not learning anything. You're just ranking players, and it doesn't really help you to make any decisions. You're just saying, "Oh, I like this player more than this player, so I'm going to take him here." And when you mock for actual teams, you actually have dilemmas that you have to go through, right? And you have to make decisions on, "Oh, I really want this player, but I have a massive hole here." So that's why we're doing it this way. And, we're just changing it up a little bit from last time from the one quarterback, to the one quarterback from Superflex. Superflex is so much more fun. And the caveat, so the special caveat is this league is probably going to Superflex. This is my oldest league. It's my work league. It's going to be going to Superflex this year. So as of right now, it's one quarterback, but we're going to be voting in Superflex for not this fall, but 2024. So we're going to have one more year of one quarterback, and then we're going to Superflex after that. So that's going to add another wrinkle to the decision making in who to take and when these quarterbacks are going to start to go off the board. So this will be a fun one, I think. Dale, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I am very excited to draft for you today, so I can't wait to mess up your team a little bit.
Oh, you do have my pick. Why did I
Yeah, I
allow
do.
this? Why did I
I
allow
don't know.
this?
I don't know.
I'm going to be
I, I,
interested.
I,
I actually like this. I'm going to see who you would go for me with my very interesting team here. So next time we'll do one of your teams. I think we've done both of mine so far, but I'm just being greedy. Host of the show, I get to do what I want, right? So
absolutely as well.
all right. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the draft board. You can follow along with us in the first round. Today we're going to be doing round one. Tomorrow we're going to come out with round two. Maybe eventually, maybe the third mock draft we do, that probably after the NFL draft, we'll go a little bit deeper, like third, fourth, and fifth round, just to kind of get some of those depth guys. I don't like doing it this early because the draft is going to shake things up so much, and even at this point with needs and everything, in the third round you're just taking guys you like at that point, right? So I want to see how the actual NFL draft shakes out before we go that deep into a mock draft. So today we're going to be doing round one, tomorrow round two, and then later on this offseason we'll be doing some deeper mocks for you guys to find some of those hidden gems out there. So that said, Dale, ding ding, you're on the clock.
All right. So with the first pick, I think it's an easy one, and for a one quarterback league, I kind of feel it's a no brainer. Like no matter what you do,
Mm-hmm.
um, and for
So
this team, like,
okay, go
well,
ahead,
yeah,
break it down.
I will go over the team. So like, at quarterback, he has Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love. Like those are two pretty good ones, and he also has Malik Willis, which may or may not be a starter. So
All the
it's
rumors
a,
are
it's
Tennessee's trying to get a new guy, so that's kind of
I know,
concerning.
I know, I know. So it's definitely a toss up. And at running back, his highlights are James Robinson, Kenneth Walker. That's really it.
Yeah,
So
yes.
so it is pretty barren at running back, and then at wide receiver, he's got Tyler Lockett, AJ Brown, scary Terry McLaurin, Nico Collins, Rondell
There's a lot of
Moore.
guys at receiver for him, in my
Yes,
opinion. He's got a
yes,
pretty solid
yeah,
Tyler
yes, he
Lockett. Yeah.
does.
Yep.
Yes, he does. And then at tight end, like he does have Zach Ertz. He's older. Tyler Conklin is an interesting one. Ryan Tunyon. So I feel the most obvious answer is Bijan Robinson, and it's probably the only time I'm ever going to draft him in any format this year. So I'm going to lock in the pick with Bijan Robinson.
There you go. There you go. So, yeah, I'm up here at 2 now, and with this being one quarterback, and again, the wrinkle is so. I first question, I guess, before we move on to number 2 here,
Hmm.
did you have any consideration going quarterback? I know Lamar Jackson's great, Jordan Love, but you have your choice
Yeah,
here. This team has no picks again until the third round, so that's where I find it a little bit more interesting to
yeah,
passing on the quarterback. That's where I just wonder how it's gonna go in this draft
right.
specifically.
I think I'm okay with holding off on quarterback in this one because I feel next year's class. I mean, there's already a couple superstars that are already emerging.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not super worried about it. And plus, if I get a higher pick next year with this team, or a top 6 pick, I'm most likely going to have a quarterback there. I'm hoping.
Sure.
So I'm
More than
not super
likely. More
worried
than
about it.
likely.
Yeah, it's more than likely. So, and I'm not fully against having Lamar Jackson and Jordan Love going into a super flex. At this moment, I would much rather have the best player available. That's Bijan. And then, like, if I want to trade some of my wide receivers for a quarterback, I could, or picks, either one. So,
Here's a question for
I
you.
yeah,
Here's a question for
yeah,
you. One more question for you, I guess. This
yeah.
team, I don't think Bijan fixes this team. To be honest with you, I,
Oh
I,
no,
I
no,
think
it
it's
doesn't.
a very good addition to the team.
Mhm.
I think it helps a lot, and especially
Yep,
this year, while it's still one quarterback. This team has
yeah.
good receivers, good tight ends, good quarterback with Lamar if he goes to the Colts or something like
Hmm.
that. Even Baltimore,
Yep.
whatever. Adding Bijan definitely helps, but God forbid anything happens to Bijan, Kenneth Walker, Bijan would be a pretty good combination there. But
Yes, absolutely.
I know Rob in this league is very interested in getting Bijan Robinson. So,
Mhm.
would you consider trading back? Like, Rob has 3 first round picks. What would it take to, I'm assuming Rob would want to keep the 1, 2, but even
Right.
one spot, what would you throw? What do you think it would take to move up one spot for this team specifically?
Mm. I mean, I would probably want a running back with probably
I mean,
or to start.
the 1, 2, and
I mean,
what? Rashad White, is that enough? Probably not.
probably not, honestly. No.
The 1,
And
2,
then and then
maybe one.
and
So,
then
what about this? 1,
yeah,
4, 2, 3, and Rashad White.
that would be a little bit better
I would take that
because
probably. If I
yeah,
was this team specifically,
yeah.
I'd probably
Yeah,
take that. Like,
I
it's 2 good picks because it's a 10 team, right? 2, 3 is pick number 13. It's essentially the 2, 1
yes.
in a normal draft, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you're moving back
Yep.
3 spots. You're losing out on Bijan, but I don't think Bijan helps you. You're getting Rashad White, which is a young running back, and then you could always hold out for more too, but or maybe
Mhm.
you could even target a quarterback because he does have Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Kenny Pickett.
Right.
Maybe like the 1, 4, 1, 8 and Trevor Lawrence, something like that would be a little bit more interesting because he does have the 1, 2. He could definitely go and replace a
Right.
quarterback
Yeah, yeah.
potentially.
Yeah, it's one of those guys. That
Right.
is true. So, but I kind of think Bijan holds so much value right
Sure.
now,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
that
For
it
sure.
would be really hard to give up on that. And I
Sure.
feel I would rather draft him and kind of wait till the season starts, where that
Mm-hmm.
draft hype kind of starts to pick up, and
Sure.
maybe see if I could trade something maybe either in season, or like a year or
Yeah,
two
fair
down the
enough.
road, like if he's starting to hit it big.
All right, fair enough. All right, so number 2 here, we're gonna go on to Rob's pick, and Rob has, like I said, three three first round picks here, so I'm gonna be doing
Yes.
all 3 of them, so I get to at least have a coherent strategy. Quarterback is
Right.
not even a consideration. Again, Herbert,
No.
Goff, Lawrence. He even has Kenny Pickett. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's gonna be fine. Tony
Yeah.
Pollard, Gus Edwards, Damian Harris. Now with the
Gross.
Bills, Rashad White, Zamir White. It's not a great running back room. Tony
No.
Pollard was pretty good last year, but he is a little bit
Right.
older. More
Mhm.
than likely, I think Bijan's going to be a Cowboy. So that's going to add a little bit of competition there.
Yeah.
Receiver wise, he does have pretty good receivers. If you look at it, he's got DK Metcalf,
Hmm.
the Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, John Dotson, who, showed a little bit last year,
Yeah.
Jamison Williams, Wandale
Williams.
Robinson, um, tight end. He's got,
That's a pretty good group there.
it's not bad. It's a little unproven,
Yeah.
though, I will say.
Yes.
There's a lot of
Absolutely.
potential, but
Absolutely.
unproven.
Yes. Yeah.
Higbee, McBride, Bellinger, not bad there at tight end.
Hmm.
So if I was taking this pick, and I know Rob really likes JSN, and I don't hate
Yep.
it here at 1-2. I
Yep.
really don't. But I think because he has very few weaknesses, in reality, it's a one quarterback, two running back, two receiver league. So
Hmm.
you really don't need that much depth at receiver like a 3.
Yep.
He's got 5 potential studs at
Starters.
receiver already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
like he's got DK Metcalf and Amon-Ra. Those two are already starters, like solid
Hmm.
starters. So you're just going for your flex now, and hopefully JSN would be a top guy that you'd be, locking and loading every single week. But I think I'd be going Jahmyr Gibbs here just because it's just too much of a need and it's too much of a value.
Yeah.
I get Jahmyr Gibbs is kind of fallen a little bit in the draft, but in terms of hype, but I still think that he's very, very good.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, I have been hearing there's there's been more and more hype with like Zach Charbonnet and Kendry Miller a little bit and Devon Achane, but I feel that's way too high for those guys.
Yeah. Yep.
So of the running backs, I kind of feel Gibbs has the highest potential at this point to be a PPR machine potentially at at
Yep.
at, at, at the
I'm
running
with you.
back position. So
I'm with you. All right, so that puts you up at 3 with my pick. So this is for my team.
yes,
Don't disappoint me.
yes.
I'll break
Oh,
my team down if you
I
don't mind. I'll
yeah,
take it
have
on.
at it, have at
So
it.
quarterback wise, I feel like I'm very solid, even for super flex when we do go there. I've got Fields, Lance, and Dak Prescott. So a
Very
very
nice.
good. I had Tom Brady. So this league is a little different. We do have compensatory picks for
Hmm.
retired players. So I did get the 211 for Tom Brady retiring. So I do have an extra extra second round pick, which is pretty nice. Could have been a first if he would have been 2 spots higher, like an extra 10 points. Oh, well, it is what it is. But running back wise, Saquon Barkley, DeAndre Swift, Kenny Gainwell, Chuba Hubbard, Pierre Strong. Not a great group of guys there, especially with DeAndre Swift kind of falling down the board.
Yeah.
Receivers are a little rough too, in my opinion. I don't love my receiving core here. Godwin, Lamb, Gabe Davis, Rashad Bateman, Allen Robinson, Keenan Allen. They're just getting old. Devontae Parker. Did I say Godwin? I think I did.
Yeah.
Chenault. Kyle Pitts at tight end. I have Dallas Goedert at tight end. Cade Otton at tight end. So I'm very, very strong at the tight end position. Very strong in quarterback. Problem is I need everything else, it feels like. So where are you going with this pick?
I feel it's a pretty easy pick for me. After these running backs have gotten off the board, I don't really feel there's a running back I really want to put on this squad right now.
Sure.
And with quarterback position being as it is, I feel pretty solid with who you have. And, tight end, like you got Pitts, you got Goddard, like those are two pretty easy ones that you got there. I'm going with Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Let's
I feel
go.
he's a
That's what I
home.
want a
I
lot.
feel I feel he's a home run pick. You know, I feel if Bijan Robinson wasn't in this draft, like he would be the 101, honestly.
Yeah, he's very
So
good. Very, very good.
yes, he's very good, and I feel he's going to be the best wide receiver in this class by I don't want to say a wide margin, but it's going to be obvious, I think, in my opinion. So
All right, so that puts me back on the clock again with Rob's pick,
mhm,
second of the first rounders. He's got 2 top 4, very good situation. Again, he's got a good team, and the fact
yep,
that he has this many firsts is terrifying. I'm
crazy,
legitimately
yeah.
afraid Rob's going to run the league forever, but it is what it is. And I'm going to help with that and just take Zach Charbonnet here. We just talked about the running back position. Tony
Hmm.
Pollard and Rashad White are good names, but Rashad White is unproven at this point in time. And
Hmm.
Damian Harris, it's Buffalo. I don't trust them whatsoever. And there's really, I like the receivers here, but I don't think any of them are an upgrade over the guys that he has. I mean, Jahan
Yeah,
Dotson, maybe these guys are an upgrade over him potentially, but
right.
you're taking two of the top three running backs here, and you are just locking it up. And you only need one of these guys to hit. I like Zach Charbonnet a lot, and he's very, very likely going to be a day two pick. So at this point
Hmm.
in time, this could all change down the road, but yeah, you're just locking up that running back room there.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that, and I feel if Charbonnet has good draft value and draft capital invested in him, I really wouldn't be shocked if he goes above Gibbs in a lot of drafts.
Yeah, I could see it, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
Gibbs has
Yeah,
been
it's
falling, and
it.
I do think that's a little
Yes,
bit
he
of
has.
a mistake, but just curious.
Yeah.
So, with my pick, and we'll talk about this quickly, but
Yeah.
if I had gone JSN at 2, would you have taken Gibbs at 3, or would you have taken Charbonnet, or would you have taken a different receiver?
I think I would have probably taken Gibbs at that point
That's fair.
based on what we know right
That's fair.
now. I feel that after the draft that Charbonnet is going to have a better landing spot than Gibbs, and I'm a little bit worried about Gibbs's size compared to other backs that are in this draft. So
Hmm.
that's what I'm worried. I'm more worried he's going to be more of like a CJ Spiller type compared to an Alvin Kamara type where he's been compared to a lot.
Fair enough. All right,
So
so you're up again at 5, and this is a new team. So
yes.
go ahead and break this one down for us.
All right, so at quarterback, he only has two quarterbacks with
Yes, he
Joseph
does.
Burrow and in McConnell or it's
McCorkle.
Mac Jones.
McCorkle.
McCorkle, thank you. McCorkle Jones. So good old McCorkle. So and then at running back he has aging and always arrested Joe Mixon, Kareem Hunt. He has Devonta Foreman, which is a very interesting one in Chicago. He has his Samaje Perine, Eckler, Devin Singletary, which he could be very interesting. And then at wide receiver, he's got Juju, uh, Christian Kirk, DJ Chark,
He's got a
Jerry
lot of
Judy,
receivers.
yeah, Pittman, uh, Dubs, Olave, and then at tight end, he's loaded at tight end with
Yes,
Kelsey
yes.
and Andrews. He
Yep.
has zero problem with tight end at this point. So
Hmm.
um, I think this is where the first quarterback gets taken off the board.
Interesting. Okay.
And yes, and I feel Burrow and Jones are very, I guess, similar types of quarterbacks.
Hmm.
That they're more
Safe.
that they're yeah, they're safe, they're pocket passers. So I could go Anthony Richardson, but I think I kind of feel he's going to be if he has any potential, it's going to be really quick and then flame out. I'm
Hmm.
really worried about his accuracy concerns and him being able to pick up on a defense. So I'm going with the best quarterback in the draft from the Ohio State University. I'm picking another OSU guy, CJ Stroud. I'm loving it so far because I'm getting to pick a lot of players I will never see on my teams.
There
So
you go. There you go. All right. No, I do think that it's a consideration here. This is where it gets interesting in a one quarterback,
yes,
right? Because the
yes,
running back depth after those top 4 in my book, Kendre
yeah,
Miller, who's just not talked about at all. I loved
yeah,
Kendre Miller, so he's still up there for
yeah.
me. But I just don't love these wide receivers enough
I
to.
don't either.
It
I don't
really,
either.
it's a really rough spot to
It's
be.
scary. It's scary because they're all very similarly graded and they
Hmm.
all do kind of almost the same thing a lot of
Yeah,
them do.
yeah. I
So,
mean, we
so yeah, so it's almost better to wait a little bit to kind of see where the first domino falls and then you can start picking these
yeah,
guys.
and in a 10 team league, like you need just elite players. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
to make a
Yes.
difference, you just need really, really good players. So,
Hmm.
that said, going on to team number 6 here, and this team has 2 picks, the 1-6 and the 1-9. So they've got a couple picks here. Quarterback wise, this is probably going to be a second quarterback, but we'll kind of we'll kind of see here.
Yeah.
Um, Derek Carr with New Orleans, okay. Bailey Zappi, Brock Purdy, that's not bad. It's not bad.
No,
Not
it's
bad
it's
at
not
all.
bad.
If Brock Purdy's the starter, which is a big if. Running back wise, you got David Montgomery, Javonte Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Brian Robinson. That's going to get me so many times, man.
It is
Um,
100%.
Receiver, he's got Mike Evans, Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow. That's a kind of unfortunate there. I just noticed that. Darius
Yeah.
Slayton, Devonta Smith, Elijah Moore. It's a group of just, it's basically a very mid group of
Guys.
receivers, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential for the running backs with Ramondre, and if Javonte can come back next year when this roster's looking to compete, it could be pretty good there. Tight end wise, he's got Isaiah Likely, Chigakonkwo. He's got Hayden Hurst, Gerald Everett. Again, nothing special there. But I think with this pick, I'm looking not to compete now. And, you know, he could definitely go one of two routes. He could definitely go he could definitely go quarterback because
Yeah.
it's going to Superflex next year. He's probably
Hmm.
not competing this year. So just go get a guy and just wait and be ready for that change over there. The other option would be wide receiver in Quentin Johnston. And, I think Quentin Johnston, it has the potential to be an alpha dog wide receiver here. And that's actually, there is a tier break for me between the next guys and him. So I'm actually going to go Quentin Johnston because I do believe that this team is probably going to be in the running for a top 3 pick next year. And you can go and get
Right.
Caleb Williams at that time. And he also has the 1-9, so we can maybe get a guy here later on because I just don't see a massive run of 2-3 quarterbacks going in the next 2 picks, right? So it had to be back-to-back quarterbacks here, and I just don't really see that happening, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think that's very interesting. Because I mean, do you have some of these quarterbacks rated similarly? Like for instance, if like a Anthony Richardson would come off the board, like would you be okay with, getting like a Will Levis, a Hendon Hooker, even a Bryce Young, which I know you despise the man, but
I don't hate
you
Bryce
know,
Young at like the 1-9. That's
right.
fine value. The problem I have with Bryce Young is when he's like a top 5 pick in Superflex, which, carry that over to a one quarterback that's going to Superflex and it gets a little bit more
Yes.
interesting. But, I
Yes.
just think that I'm playing the board a little bit here and kind of
Yeah,
just playing
absolutely.
the other teams here a little bit because, I don't think that they really need. And I guess I forgot to mention this caveat. The one other caveat to make it fair for everybody, once we vote in Superflex, not this year, but before next year's rookie draft, everybody has to cut down to 3 quarterbacks, so you can't just stash them. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
So it gives
ooh.
everybody the
I like
option
that.
to
Yeah,
to
like
get some
that.
of those guys. So sorry, that is an important caveat that I forgot to
Yes,
mention
that
before now.
definitely
So,
is.
like
Definitely.
Rob, he has 4 guys already, right? With Goff,
Right.
Herbert, Lawrence, and Pickett. He can't just
Yeah.
go Richardson and just keep all 5 of those guys. He'd have to cut
Right.
2 of them. And at that point, then someone like Max would be able to go and get somebody off in the next year's draft.
Yeah.
So, I'm just playing the board a little bit here, there, and
Mhm.
taking difference makers in tier breaks before the opponents do.
Yes. Yeah, no, I definitely hear that, and I do feel it's important to know your league and to know what if there's any rule changes, if it's going to be that way
Sure.
or anything like that, because I'm sure there's people that have gotten burned by that and they don't draft appropriately, and then their team sucks forever, and then they
Yeah,
quit that
right.
league.
Right.
In all honesty, like it happens all the time.
Yep.
So,
All right, so you're up at 7
so
here and
yep.
break this team down for us.
Yes. So he has two pretty good quarterbacks with Josh Allen and Kirk Cousins,
Yep.
your favorite guy.
Hey, he's
And
top
then
12 guy, man.
yeah, and then at running back he has James Conner, Josh Jacobs, J.K. Dobbins, Antonio Gibson, Tyler Algier. Like
He has
he
good
has a
guys,
couple.
a little thin though.
Yeah, yeah, it is thin. So, and then at wide receiver, He's got Brandon Cooks, Mari Cooper, Mike Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Darnell Mooney, Tony
Burks,
Burks. Yeah,
Pierce.
Alec Pierce is interesting. And then at tight end, pretty much all he has is Darren Waller.
Yep.
I mean, uh, Brevin Jordan's interesting. I would have really liked to see where Foster Moreau would have landed if he didn't get his unfortunate cancer
Cancer, right?
diagnosis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunate.
I honestly think he would have been either a Saint or a Bengal. I think
Right.
that would have been very interesting, a
Yep.
very interesting landing spot for him. But that's very unfortunate. So,
Uh-huh.
I can go one of two ways. I
And
was kind of thinking,
real quick,
yeah,
so this
yeah,
team has the 1-7 and the 110. So,
110, yes, yes,
another pick here, just a couple more picks. So just keep
yes,
that in mind as
yes, and
well.
it, yes, yes, and I was about to mention that I have another. This team has another pick coming up. So, I think with it being one quarterback right now, I would feel comfortable waiting,
Mm-hmm.
even if I wanted to pick a quarterback this year. I don't
Sure.
necessarily have to.
Sure.
I don't have to. So, it's with that being said, really, I'm looking at either running back or even going with the first tight end off the board because
Mm-hmm.
he is pretty thin at tight end, and with Darren Waller having his injury history and age going against him,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very worried about that. I feel halfway decent with him at running back, and with all the running backs that are going to be drafted this year, I feel he could pick one up somewhere. It's down the road too. So
Right.
I think I'm going to go with the best tight end in my opinion, and Michael Mayer. I feel that's going to be a home run pick for him at 107.
All right. Yeah, it's spicy. And this
Yeah.
is just regular, no tight end premium. So
Mm-mm.
it always, as someone who took Pitts at 102, I'm still kind of suffering from that, taking him
Right.
over
Right.
over Jamar Chase. But
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts is a receiver in a tight end's body. So
He is. He is.
if
Yeah.
he ever, and maybe it's not with the Falcons, but if once he gets utilized to his potential in the NFL, I mean, goodness gracious, man,
He
he is going.
he's going to be
There's no reason he
fantastic.
should
Yeah.
not be getting Travis Kelce targets every single game,
No. No.
every game. But if Arthur
I'm
Smith keeps
just
this crap up, he's going to end up
exact.
getting fired,
That
man.
that that's what I was about to say. Like it's all on Arthur Smith at this.
Yeah. All right, so I'm back up with Rob's third pick. So he's got Jahmyr Gibbs, Zach Charbonnet. Again, this is a pretty solid team. At this point in time, I think that I'd be comfortable here taking my number 3 wide receiver in this class, which is going to be Jordan Addison. I do still think that
I
there's a
like it.
talent there, and it helps
Yes.
if Jordan Addison hits. And let's you're hedging your bets a little bit. Drake London, I like the talent. Jameson Williams, I like the talent. Jahan Dotson, he's only got 2 solidified guys in DK Metcalf and Amon-Ra St. Brown. We know those guys can ball. The other 3 guys are all kind of potential guys, and there's a very real non-0% chance that Jordan Addison can outperform 1, 2, or 3 of those guys. So,
Mhm.
taking that and just kind of leveraging it, you're filling out your position because you don't need tight end. You don't really need quarterback. And I just think that this helps you win now. You're
Yeah.
loading up to be one of the powerhouse teams in this league. So, give me the last guy here before there's a little mini tier break here at wide receiver.
Yeah. No, I definitely like that. And if you didn't go Jordan Addison, I might have at that point.
Sure.
On honestly for the next team coming up. So,
All
um,
right.
so so I have the second of the 2 first round picks for it's teams it's the team that picked at 106 and picked Quentin Johnston.
Yep.
So, just like what you were saying that, like he could honestly go quarterback here. Unfortunately, like he does not have a second round pick,
Mm-hmm.
which does make it a little bit more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You
He
know,
has,
I
yeah, he
I
has
I
a
don't
3-1 as his next pick.
yes, yes. So I honestly don't feel bad with Derek Carr and Brock Purdy there. I don't feel
Really,
horrible
I
with
feel
that.
terrible about that.
I
Like
know.
I,
Well,
in my
that's
opinion,
because
this is where a good spot for Anthony Richardson, just because you're looking at the upside of Anthony. If Anthony Richardson is what
right.
we think he could be for fantasy football, even in a one quarterback, like that could be a major difference maker over those two guys specifically. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, there is the chance that he busts, but you're at least setting yourself up for this year. He can kind of work on his accuracy stuff, but he's going to be a baller on the ground. And then next year
Right.
they can revamp that offensive line. It's not Frank Reich's first year there. They get to know the players a little bit better. So I just think that this is where I would probably take Anthony Richardson. I think that he's just such a if he hits, he's such a massive difference maker
Yes,
over the rest
he
of the
is.
field here. But
Agreed, agreed,
I don't,
agreed.
it is still one quarterback. You're not wrong with
Yes,
those two guys, but I just wanted
yes,
to put that
yes.
out
So
there.
no, no, and I understand that. Like I understand that Derek Carr is very mid. He's very, very mid.
Yep.
He is,
I agree. You're not telling me
and then
anything I don't
yeah,
disagree
yeah, yeah.
with.
And then there's no guarantee that Brock Purdy is even going to be the starter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yep.
that is a little worrisome. So I mean, I I'm either thinking quarterback or I'm thinking about going wide receiver again because I don't
Mm-hmm.
really like any other running backs. I mean, maybe Kendry Miller
Mm-hmm.
could be something, but I honestly prefer to take wide receivers. I just love taking receivers if I could. So, but I think I'm probably gonna do what like you were saying. I'm just gonna go with it and go Anthony Richardson. I do feel that's a very risky pick, but
Yeah.
at the
100%.
at the 109, I feel a lot better about it. I've been seeing some mocks with him going, either like 102, even like 103, and
Mm-hmm.
that's really scary to me because I feel there's a very high potential he's gonna flame out. So that's just me. So, I feel these two picks that he had are they're not. I mean, Quentin Johnson's not super risky, but for I feel he's risky enough at 106 in my opinion. Um, to I kind of feel he's going I kind of feel his picks are going.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yep. I'm with you. All right, so that puts me up at the last pick of the first round. And let's see here. I'm just looking through. So this is the second pick of the 1-7 team 7 here.
Mhm,
They took Michael Mayer with the first one. Again, pretty solid. Josh Allen and Kirk Cousins is a pretty solid duo at quarterback there.
mhm.
Um, no real third option there. Running backs, it's kind of thin there. So that's where I'm kind of leaning here. Kendry Miller is interesting here.
Mhm.
The other guy I was kind of looking at, you know, I'd probably just go Kendry Miller, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Um, we'll see how the NFL reacts to him on draft day. If for whatever reason he falls out of day two, which it's entirely possible because he was injured, wasn't able to work out at the combine,
Mhm.
wasn't able to work out at his pro day. So that's a little concerning. But when you watch this guy play, man, he's just so freaking good. So,
He's electric, yes.
yeah, for sure.
He is, he
It,
is.
it does kind of it makes me a little nervous because of the injury concerns here. But this running back room, it's deep, but it's just you get to pick your poison here, whichever guy
Yes,
you really want
absolutely.
the most here.
Yeah,
So give me Kendra Miller and just hope that he can get drafted with a pretty solid draft capital there. But
yeah,
it's not bad.
100%.
Recap, pairing him with Michael Mayer in the first round is not a bad haul whatsoever.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And I feel that's pretty solid for a team that, that was in the semifinals last year.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
in
Well, no, they
play
weren't.
well, oh, they
Wait,
weren't.
semi.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were.
no, they were in
Yeah.
quarters, right? Quarters. This is team 7.
Okay.
Yeah, so they
Fair
lost
enough.
the second round of playoffs.
Fair enough. So, but still they were a playoff team compared to some of
Oh
these
yeah,
other teams
yeah.
that we've talked about did not even sniff it. So,
Mm-hmm. Like mine. Like mine.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
all right. So recapping round one here, team number team number two, I guess, but the first pick, they get Bijan Robinson. Rob was able to get Jahmyr Gibbs, Zach Charbonnet, and Jordan Addison. Pretty solid haul. My team added Jackson Smith and Jigba. Team number 5 took CJ Stroud, which was pretty good. I like that quite a bit. Team number 6 was able to add, well, I guess team number 1 in here, but the pick number 6 added Quentin Johnston and Anthony Richardson to a kind of struggling team there. There's a reason they were the 1-1. And it's not his fault that he didn't have the 1-1. The previous owner had sold the 1-1, and it just left him with the bad team, and it was kind of a rough situation there. But then team number 7 here got Michael Mayer and Kendre Miller, and that was pretty much it for the first round. So let us know your thoughts here if you would have gone any other ways with any of these picks. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Until next time, you can find us on Twitter at TDC_Calvin, at Dynasty_Dale. We're going to be back tomorrow with round number 2 of the rookie mock draft. And that's where it's going to get a little bit more interesting because a few teams, if you notice, there's only been a few teams with any picks whatsoever. There's, I think, 3 or 4 teams that haven't even made a selection yet. And I don't know if they all have second-round picks either. So some of these guys don't even get the pick in the second round, which is always scary in Dynasty League. You're literally not getting any better from last year except for your players maybe developing a little bit more. So add no new depth or talent to your team. But yeah, we'll get to that tomorrow, and you can find that on the YouTube channel. You can find the podcast also audio only on Spotify, Apple, Google, anywhere that you listen to podcasts. We're probably there as well. So while you're there, if you can, just leave a comment, leave a subscription, leave a like, whatever, review, anything you can to help out the podcast. We're just trying to grow it this whole off season. And if you can, tell us to one of your friends, and just, we're just a couple guys trying to talk fantasy football, bring a little bit of logic to the fantasy space. Any last thoughts, Dale, before we get out of here?
Nope.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you.